Hey, folks, how you doing? How are you? Yeah, this is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce for the Wayne S. Pierce Show right here for the 29th of October, 2014. How are ya? You doing good? It's the 29th. I want to remind you that tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, on Spreaker.com, go to Eastland Radio Repertory Theater. Let me say that once again. Eastland Radio Repertory Theater. Eastland Radio Repertory Theater. Said it twice. Tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, you will hear a Halloween special. I will be in the chat room on the Spreaker side of things, but you can also catch the archive show or the live show, actually, at eastlandradiotheater.weebly.com. And, yeah, you'll enjoy it, I'm sure. Now, I also want to give a big shout out to the one and only Mr. Tom Slick over at 92.6. The Blitz. Yes. Radio Rock 92.6. The Blitz. Go to radiorocktheblitz.blogspot.com or catch him on Radio Rock 92.6. The Blitz on Spreaker.com. So check him out as well. A lot of things going on. Also, check out Brian Lang over at livetruthradio.com. livetruthradio.com. I don't know. I don't know why people would insist on not accepting what is happening. Okay? Why are people not accepting what is happening? Oh, it's simple. They don't want to. But I don't want to get into all that. This may be the only show today before 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern with the Halloween special on Eastland Radio Repertory Theater. So I don't want to get into a whole lot. And I just want to keep it light, but share with you some news. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't, honestly. So anyway, I'm just typing something right now to someone who left me a message. So there you go. Let me point this out. Now, of course, this is from my perspective, and I see a lot going on, and I see a lot that is changing the whole environment in our lives. And I see that we are still basing our entire life on a stimulus response tactics that are out there. Here's why I say that. I know that's really deep. Here's why I say this. Mike Carter over at Seattle Times staff reporter writes this at seattletimes.com. FBI created fake Seattle Times web page to nab bomb threat suspect. Now, you would think just from that headline everything was cool and it was the right thing to do. FBI created fake Seattle Times webpage to nab bomb threat suspect. The FBI created a fake news story on a bogus Seattle Times web page to plant software in the computer of a suspect in a series of bomb threats to Timberline High School in 2007, documents reveal. Now, would you say, just on that, would you say that that's entrapment? I'm just asking a question because, that's what I do. The FBI in Seattle created a fake news story on a bogus Seattle Times webpage to plant software in a computer of a suspect in a series of bomb threats to Lacey's Timberline High School in 2007, according to documents obtained by the Electronic Frontier Foundation in San Francisco. The deception was publicized Monday when Christopher Segoen, I don't know how to pronounce that, principal technologist for the American Civil Liberties Union in Washington, D.C., revealed it on Twitter. Sometimes words just cannot be pronounced. In an interview, he called the incident outrageous and said the practice could result in, quote, significant collateral damage to the public trust, unquote, if law enforcement begins co-opting the media for its purposes. The EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, documents reveal that the FBI dummied up a story with an Associated Press byline about the Thurston County bomb threats with an email link, quote, in the style of the Seattle Times, unquote, including details about subscriber and advertiser information. Stop right there. The FBI did this? The FBI, the same FBI that works closely with the CIA in some cases to create false flag events that result in either taking away completely our rights in certain areas or suppressing our rights in certain cities or creating and implementing at one point martial law, Boston bombing, that kind of thing. The link was sent to the suspect's MySpace account. When the suspect clicked on the link, the hidden FBI software sent his location and internet protocol information to the agents. A juvenile suspect was identified and arrested June 14th. That was in 2007. The revelation brought a sharp response from the newspaper. Quote, we are outraged that the FBI, with the apparent assistance of the U.S. Attorney's Office, misappropriated the name of the Seattle Times to secretly install spyware on a computer of a crime suspect, unquote, and Seattle Times editor, or said Seattle Times editor Kathy Best, quote, not only does that cross the line, it erases it, unquote. She said, stop right there. Yes, it does. It takes the freedom that we have of the press and erases that protection that these reporters have when the FBI can easily just create a web page, blah, 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 and do what they do without informing the Seattle Times in this case what they were doing, and totally erases our protection for that freedom of press. Which then, in some arguments, would say that nobody has the right to not give the name of the sources of the people in the story. That is probably going to go that far. I doubt that's the case here. I'm just saying the argument could be placed for the federal government saying, you have no protection whatsoever. You will have to give us your sources. Well, that blows the water. That blows out of the water the opportunity for quote-unquote whistleblowers to come forth anonymously and tell people what's happening from the government's point, within the government, i.e. Edward Snowden, Glenn Greenwald, that kind of thing. Now, Wayne Mattson is another one that has done that. Continuing, Quote, our reputation and our ability to do our job as a government watchdog are based on trust. Nothing is more fundamental to that trust than our independence from law enforcement, from government, from corporations, and from all other special interests, unquote, Best said. Quote, the FBI's actions taken without our knowledge, traded on our reputation, and put it at peril, unquote. Well, the Seattle Times needs to go sue the FBI. An AP spokesman also criticized the tactic. Quote, we are extremely concerned and find it unacceptable that the FBI misappropriated the name of the Associated Press and published a false story attributed to the AP, unquote. Paul Colford, C-O-L-F-O-R-D, director of AP Media Relations. Quote, this ploy violated AP's name and undermined AP's credibility, unquote. Frank Montoya Jr., the special agent in charge of the FBI in Seattle, defended the investigation and the technique, which court records show led to the arrest and conviction of a 15-year-old student. Quote, every effort we made in this investigation had the goal of preventing a tragic event like what happened at Marysville and Seattle Pacific University, unquote, Montoya said. Quote, we identified a specific subject of an investigation and used a technique that we deemed would be effective in preventing a possible act of violence in a school setting. Use of that type of technique happens in very rare circumstances and only when there is sufficient reason to believe it could be successful in resolving the threat, unquote, he said. Dietrich Williams, the spokeswoman for the FBI Seattle, pointed out that the Bureau did not use a quote-unquote real Seattle Times article, but material generated by the FBI in styles common in reporting and online media, unquote. Well, they didn't plagiarize anybody. That's what they're saying. Assistant U.S. Attorney Tessa Gorman, chief of the office's criminal division, was reviewing the EFF documents provided to her by the Times and had no immediate comment. Catherine Warma, the prosecutor who oversaw the case, has since retired. The EFF posted 172 pages of documents concerning the FBI's use of a software called, quote, a computer and internet protocol address verifier in two cases, one involving the Timberline High School bomb threats and the other involving an extortion attempt against a cruise line in Florida. More than half of the documents related to the Seattle case. According to the documents, CIPAV lets the FBI, quote, geophysically, unquote, locate a computer and its internet protocol address. Segoyan said the software is activated when someone clicks on the bogus link. The technique apparently exploits the same computer security vulnerabilities used by hackers. Police in Lacey Thurston County contacted the Northwest Cyber Crime Task Force after the school began receiving a series of bomb threats beginning in late May of 2007 and continuing into early June. The school was forced to evacuate students at least twice, and police were unable to identify a suspect. The documents indicate the FBI in Seattle obtained a search warrant to deploy the CIPAV software after the task force, which is run by the FBI, received a public tip about a suspect. Special Agent Norman Sanders, in seeking the warrant, said the Bureau would send a communication to the suspect's computer that would make the computer identify itself for the agent. The case was taken up by the U.S. Attorney's Office, which helped draft and approve the warrant, and the warrant does not say that communication would be a bogus news story that appeared to be published online at the Seattle Times. So basically, the FBI circumvented the rights of the company, number one. Number two, not subverted, well, in a way they did. They absconded with, they stole the name of Seattle Times. Can I go down the line? They committed crimes against humanity. They committed crimes and treason against the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States. The FBI did. The same organization that says we're out to protect people have committed crimes behind the scenes. The FBI. Okay? That's not all, folks. That's not all. That's not all. Let me go to break. Take a little break here, a little break, a little over a minute, and I shall return and give you some more news, and we'll go from there. Talk to you in a bit. Be right back.
October 29th, 30th, and 31st from Eastland Radio, Repertory Theater, and New West Theater, a Halloween special. 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Eastland Radio, Repertory Theater presents a Halloween special just for you. You can also go to eastlandradiotheater.weebly.com.
Catch up on the latest news and controversy and more on The Spencer Hughes Show on Spreaker.com and SpencerHughes.net. Don't wait until another natural or man-made disaster strikes. Have at least 72 hours of emergency gear near you at all times, and that includes food. Get your emergency food supply today. Go to freeamericaradio.us and at the top of the page, click on the emergency food supply link. Help your family by purchasing as much emergency food supply as you need. You'll be helping out your family and Free America Radio Network. Thank you. Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show special broadcast on the 29th of October 2014. Come join me tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern for a Halloween special on Eastland Radio Repertory Theater right here on Spreaker, or go to eastlandradiotheater.weebly.com. That's eastlandradiotheater.weebly.com. 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here. You can also hear it here on Spreaker.com as well. Thank you. Special broadcast. How you doing? Are you doing good? Are you doing good there? Okay. Hey, Drudge Report has a lot of good stuff. If you haven't been there, drudgereport.com. Lots of good stuff. Fox News plans exclusive interview with SEAL who killed bin Laden, developing, oh my God, another lie. I mean, can we just get over this bull crap? Bin Laden died in 2001 or 2002. Doctors have come out and said so. Period. Put it to freaking rest. Okay? And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't see anything wrong with that. Excuse me. Couple of things. Couple of big headlines over there on Drudge Report. As soon as the thing comes up. Obviously, it's not wanting to come up, so let's do this. Click off of that. Sometimes stuff doesn't work. What can you say? You know, it's some stuff doesn't work. From the dailycaller.com. La Raza promotes Washington Post guide on where people can vote without an ID. Yeah. Okay? Isn't that wonderful? Folks, we don't have any rights anymore. We don't have a right as patriots, as citizens of the United States, born and raised here. We don't have any rights. We don't have a right to go into the school to wear a shirt of our choice, whether it be an NRA shirt or go to the polls with an NRA hat or whatever, without somebody getting all pissed off. We don't have any rights anymore, folks. We can't go walking down the street with a shirt that says, to hell with Obama, because somebody might call a cop and say, he's, or calling us some other politically correct name, whatever it is. We don't have any rights, folks. We don't. But, oh boy, the illegal aliens come over here. The radical jihadist Muslims come over here. Anybody other than Christians, they're given all kinds of rights. And you're paying for it. You and I, who were born and raised right here in the United States of America, don't have any rights whatsoever. And if you're Christian, oh my God, that's 3 strikes against you immediately. You're born and raised in the United States. You're of a certain economic level, and you're a Christian. 3 strikes, you have no rights, you're done. La Raza promotes Washington Post guide on where people can vote without an ID. The pro-amnesty Hispanic activist organization, the National Council of La Raza, helpfully promoted a Washington Post article explaining which states people can vote in without having to use a photo ID. Quote, photo ID laws are at issue across the country, with newly Republican-controlled legislatures having passed them in numerous states after the 2010 election, unquote, explained the Washington Post's Aaron Blake. Quote, most states still request some form of ID, but don't require it. Another 20 states don't require identification. In case you're wondering where your state is at in all of this, a helpful graphic from the Post's graphics team, unquote. So, who ended up using the Post helpful graphic? The country's foremost pro-amnesty Hispanic immigration organization. The Chicago chapter of Asian Americans Advancing Justice tweeted Blake's article with the message, reminder, Illinois does not require voter ID to cast a ballot, unquote, along with the pro-Democrat hashtag turn out for what. The tweet was helpfully retweeted by the National Council of La Raza. It's an article over at dailycaller.com by Patrick Howley, political reporter. We have no rights, folks. We have no rights. They're gone. We have no rights. We have no protection of whatever rights we have left, if we have any. And I said, of course, we don't have any. Let me break this all down for you. Let me pull all this apart briefly and say this. Number one, let me retract my statement. We have very few rights, but we don't have the major rights that we need to live peacefully and amicably with other people. We have very few rights left. And all these pro-amnesty, pro-democratic, pro-Muslim, pro-fascist, socialist, communist, Marxist people want all the rights that we, born and raised here, have left to be thrown out the door. Okay? Now, of course, you're going to say, that's your perspective. I don't see it that way. Well, then tell me how you see it. Free America Radio at USA.com. Free America Radio at USA.com. Put in the subject line, radio, so I know you heard this. Now, I'm very passionate about what I believe. I'm very passionate about looking at the truth, the facts, everything, pieces of everything, to try to find some sort of cohesiveness in what is happening, and to verify, clarify, and validate those things that are seen to be outside of the fringes of the mainstream. In other words, people call me a conspiracy theorist. You have to prove yourself right because the burden of proof is on you. You tell me I'm wrong, the burden of proof is on you. Period. I, on the other hand, will search and search and search and, piece it all together to find the truth based upon facts. Okay? I mean, that's just the way it is. All right? Now, some people might say, well, you've got a certain bent on life. I think life is something else. Hey, that's good for you if it works out. If you wake up every morning, put your feet on the ground, and you're grateful for life, and you do what you do to take care of your family and help them survive and survive yourself, I applaud you. But there's more to life than just putting your feet on the ground and doing everything by rote. You got a routine. You get up, you do a certain thing in the morning, you do, you shower, shave, do some other things, you hop in the car, you drive the same way to work for many, many years. Everything is right down to the T because that's just the way it has been for many, many years. And that's the way everyone else has done it. And that's the way it's been done. See where I'm going with that? If you continue to believe what is out there that you've been told for many, many years, before you know it, the lie becomes the truth. Because that's all you know. You don't take the time out to make the time to go and look this stuff up. I saw a post yesterday from a friend of mine, and I replied. Somebody replied to that post, to that reply, and said I was wrong, but supplied no evidence. Except to say, you got to go back and look at history. I did. I found it. I've been looking at this stuff for many, many years. And when I say something, you can pretty much guarantee that it's correct for the most part. And if you don't believe it, then, hey, I think it's your responsibility to go, verify certain things. The burden of proof is on you, obviously, so you have to prove it to yourself first. I have to. If I think of something and someone tells me something, I have to go look at it and go, okay, I'll take a look at this. So anyway, enough of that. Go on to the next story. I clicked on a link on Drudge Report over here at the Haaretz, HAARETZ.com. The Haaretz. Netanyahu responds to U.S. I am under attack for defending Israel. Hours after U.S. official quoted calling Netanyahu chicken crap, and you can translate that in your own vernacular. PM says alliance between Israel and U.S. is still strong despite arguments. Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Wednesday that he was under attack by anonymous critics simply because he was defending Israel and its national security interest, but stressed that he cherished Israel's alliance with the United States despite the arguments. Speaking to the Knesset hours after a senior U.S. official was quoted calling him a, pardon my French, but this is in the article, Speaking at the Knesset hours after a senior U.S. official was quoted calling him a chicken shit prime minister, that's in quotes, Netanyahu told the Knesset, quote, "When there are pressures on Israel to concede its security, the easiest thing to do is to concede. You get a round of applause, ceremonies on grassy knolls, and then come the missiles and the tunnels," unquote. Let that sink in for a minute, folks. He goes on to say, "I'm not prepared to make concessions that will endanger our state. Understand our national interest, topped by security and the unity of Jerusalem, are not what top the interests of those anonymous forces attacking us and me personally. I am under attack simply because I'm defending the state of Israel. If I didn't stand firm on our national interest, I would not be under attack," unquote. He goes on to say, "I respect and cherish the deep connection with the United States. Since the establishment of the state, we've had our arguments and then some. We have seen time after time, year after year, support rising among the American public. The strategic alliance between the stances is continuing and will continue," unquote. I don't have anything against the Israeli people, since they better understand their history. It was a Rothschild invention, created to do one thing, whatever the Rothschilds wanted done. Okay? So they better understand their history. I have nothing, they're human beings. I have nothing against them. I don't even have anything against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. I don't. He seems to be a well-educated individual. I'd love to sit down with him and Russian President Vladimir Putin just to pick their brains, man. What the hell is going on, you know? That would be cool. You know? Netanyahu's office earlier Wednesday launched a counteroffensive at the Obama administration after a senior U.S. official was quoted report by The Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg as saying Netanyahu was a, you know what I mean, I said it before, who only cares about his political survival. Doesn't any political person in a higher office look for that? Quote, "Netanyahu will continue to uphold the security interests of Israel and historical rights of the Jewish people in Jerusalem, and no amount of pressure will change that," unquote, Netanyahu's office said in response to the remark, and the latest in the ongoing crisis in the U.S. relations. Quote, "The thing about Bibi," that's Benjamin Netanyahu. Why is it hard for me to say his name? "The thing about Bibi is this is from this guy named Goldberg. The thing about Bibi is he's a chicken shit." The official was cited as saying, according to Goldberg, the Obama administration official said that Netanyahu frustrates the White House and the U.S. State Department the most. Quote, "The good thing about Netanyahu is that he's scared to launch wars. The bad thing about him is that he won't do anything to reach an accommodation with the Palestinians or with the Sunni Arab states. The only thing he is interested in is protecting himself from political defeat. He's not Yitzhak Rabin, and he's not Ariel Sharon. He's certainly no Menachem Begin. He's got no guts," unquote. That's what the official said, okay? An Obama administration official. That's what he said. He has no guts. Excuse me? You know? I look at it this way, and I smile. You can't tell, it's radio. But I look at it this way. We have to know who set all of this up. We have to know who started this geopolitical chess game. Okay? We have to go back and look at all of this. All right? Examine the players in this game. It's the same chess game, different players. They've moved a piece here and there. New players come in. They move some pieces around. New players come in. We have to understand this. And if we don't, well, good knowing you. The United States of America was founded on the principles of peace, freedom, security, liberty. And when you look at those four attributes that we have so enjoyed for the last 238 years, every other country wants that. We're not the, shining mansion on the hill for anybody. But if you talk to the Israelis, the Palestinians, if you talk to the Arabs, the Sunnis, the whatever, you talk to anybody, they want peace, freedom, security, and liberty for their country. We just happen to do it better. We just happen to, we happen to do it better. But then after 1871, it was all about profiteering off the backs of, profiteering through warfare off the backs of the citizens of the United States. What? 5 years or 6 years after the Civil War, 1861 to 1865, after the assassination, the murder of President Abraham Lincoln, the Rothschilds, with others, walked into the United States and said, "You people are broke, we can help you out." Go check out the Organic Act of 1871. Tear down a country that has no centralized government. Turn the citizens' world upside down. Create propaganda to prop certain people up as so-called quote-unquote leaders. Then tell the regular citizenry that those leaders are there to help, and you got yourself a puppet government. It's that simple. And we've been doing that for years, folks. And we're not the only ones. Don't look at the U.S. just being, we didn't create this, folks. Go back and look at the Roman Empire. Yes, the Roman Empire, which started out as a Roman Republic. Okay, go check that one out. So here we are. And what do? Do we support Israel? Do we? I support the citizens of Israel. I support the Israelis who are wanting peace, freedom, security, and liberty for their country. That's what I support. I don't support corrupt, back-assward, governments or leaders. I don't. I just don't. Hell, I support the citizens of Mexico. And they got a screwed up country. Their country is about ready to collapse. I would say by the beginning of the 2016 presidency, I can tell you right now that Mexico is about ready to just fold. They're at that point, economically, philosophically, personally. I have seen numbers of people. I used to work with them. Come over here and tell me. I asked. I'm not afraid to ask the tough questions. I asked the people I worked with. You're over here, you got a visa. Yeah, work visa. I said, why did you come over to the U.S.? I mean, what did you come over here legally or illegally? What did you do? Oh, I came over here, whatever. And they tell me how they got here. And then I said, well, why did you come over here? And the ones that I've talked to in the last 30 or 20 some odd years, 25, 26 years, they tell me the same thing. Number one, there's no work. Number two, the government's corrupt. And number three, the drug cartels run everything. Or they're like the protection, it's like the mafia protection. Hey, I see you got a store in the neighborhood. Hey, you pay me a little bit of money, I can protect it for you. That kind of thing, right? My bad New York stereotypical Italian accent. But the fact is that people want peace, freedom, security, and liberty for their country. It's the government. It's the tools. And I use that term very strongly. It's the tools that are used by those who are put in power in these governments or in these countries to form governments to suppress the people. And once you suppress the people, it's easy for the government or whoever to come along or whoever they use to upturn the foundations of the beliefs of people in those countries, whatever it is they believe. It's real simple. Hard to explain, but really simple. Hey, I want to go to the Spreaker side of things and say hello to Open Thinking Dude podcast. Go check that out on Spreaker. Open Thinking Dude podcast. That's one word, Open Thinking Dude. And very, very good pod. He puts up other podcasts too, other shows, which is really cool. So go check it out. Open Thinking Dude, one word, podcast. And for the moment, folks, for the moment, I am going to take a slight little break, and when we come back in this next section, in this next segment, I will read another article, and I will have an opinion on it. So stay tuned, sit tight, sit back, relax. I'm sharing with you the truth without all the bull. Be right back after this.
Sarasota's home for R&B and soul. The Razor Blade Express with Dave the Rave.
And will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Ah, damn politicians. My mother always told me this country would be screwed if the liberals had their way. The only sanity I get is when I listen to Jeff Wagner on the Conservative Voice, only on the Conservative Radio Network.
Eastland Radio Repertory Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor? Do you want to hone your abilities? Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com. We are currently looking for voice actors to fill certain character roles in an ongoing radio play in development. Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com.
October 29th, 30th, and 31st from Eastland Radio Repertory Theater and New West Theater, a Halloween special. 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Eastland Radio Repertory Theater presents a Halloween special just for you. You can also go to eastlandradiotheater.weebly.com.
We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
The affirmative task we have now is to actually create a new world order, because the global order is changing again. And the institutions and the rules that worked so well in the post-World War II era for decades, they need to be strengthened, and some have to be changed. So we have to do what we do best. We have to lead. We have to lead.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Hey, folks, how you doing? Welcome back. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show special broadcast for the 29th of October, 2014. How are you? You doing good? Because, man, I'm doing good. Hey, come join me tonight on the Eastland Radio Repertory Theater presentation of a New West Theater production of, well, it's a Halloween special. I'm going to have some couple of shows there from yesteryear, and it's going to be great, I'm sure. 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker or at eastlandradiotheater.weebly.com. Awesome. I really think that people, you and I, the general masses of the United States, we are aware of what's going on. Now, we can see that with the information that we've gathered from the military and law enforcement, about 85% of them, or 80% of them, something like that, that said that they understand that what's happening in Washington, D.C., and frankly, they've said, and I've seen quotes that say this, they won't take the guns away from the American people. Well, I applaud them for that, okay? But then there are a few people, you and I, general public, general masses of the United States, there are a few people who say, well, they should. Whoa, take them away. We don't need guns. My ex-wife being one of them. But I don't want to disparage her. She's, keep her in your thoughts and prayers, people. So I just feel that people are misinformed. Number one, I also, because of that misinformation that these people are being fed, I believe that they are misinterpreting the value of survival. They're misinterpreting the misinformation, causing them to reevaluate certain things in the wrong way and subjugating themselves to a point of non-survival. Okay? Because we all want to survive. Eventually our bodies are just going to we're going to be done with them and out of here, okay? They're either going to be shoved in an oven and we're going to be put in a niche, or we're going to be buried 49 inches below the ground. So, either way, we're not going to live forever, but while we're here, let's survive, shall we? That's kind of a good thing. Do you not believe that? There are some people who don't want that. Namely, Ted Turner, Bill Gates, Henry Kissinger. You heard that little piece there about the New World Order. That's what they're looking at. They're looking at a new world order with 90% less world population. Check out the Georgia Guidestones, okay? it really puts a whole new perspective on it when you see what a few of the people see and want. For instance, and I'll put this, I'll share this. I didn't share other things, but I'll share this on the Wayne S. Pierce Show Facebook page. And it's a picture. Whoops, went to the wrong one. There we go. It's a picture. And it says, war is the greatest debt creator known to man. I talked about war before the break. Profiteering off of warfare. War is the greatest debt creator known to man. The picture has J.P. Morgan, a Rothschild, and a Rockefeller. And below it, it says, so why do we resist the idea that both sides of wars are typically funded by the same bankers? Are we scared of the implications? Could they be manipulating the wars into happening for their own profits? I would say, to that last question, a most definite yes. Okay? War is a racket. General Smedley Butler said the same thing. War is a racket. Someone want to go back in the history and trace all these situations where the government said, you know what, we can go and contract with private industries and we can have our machines, war machines, built by, places like Lockheed or, things like that, or General Motors or whatever. Somebody want to go back and trace when that first general contract from the government was given to a private corporation? Because that's when it began. And if it wasn't for GM, we wouldn't have the Jeeps or whatever we had back then, in the wars, in World War II specifically. We wouldn't have the planes that we have. We wouldn't have the jets that we have. We wouldn't have the material that we have as far as, all of that, or the technology to as the infrastructure to support that. So war is a racket. Who's making the money? Certainly those contractors. Who's paying the price? Well, if you go to Arlington, you'll see who's paying the price. If you go to your local cemetery and in your military sections, you'll see who's paying the price. So war is a racket. General Smedley Butler was right. He blew the whistle. Lots of other contractors, former contractors, have come out and blown the whistle. It's not about freedom, and freedom isn't free. Thank you, Hooligan Radio, in the Spreaker chat. Freedom is not free. Freedom costs. It costs you, it costs your mothers, it costs your fathers, your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, your brothers, your sisters. It costs you because you're paying a bigger price, and those warmongering pieces of crap are profiting off the blood that your relatives have spilled upon the land, whether it be the U.S., whether it be some other country. This is why, was it Eisenhower, correct me if I'm wrong, in 1961 in his exit speech said that we have to, in my words, be afraid, in his words, the military-industrial complex. Because he knew. Oh, he knew. Okay, he knew. He was a general. Hello. He knew. I would rather trust him over anybody else. But the fact of the matter is that war is a racket. And it's interesting. Here's the contrast. There's profits, Profits, profits in warfare. But there's no profit in cures for ailments and diseases and disorders. You know why? Because the government has the patents on the drugs that they have the patents for the cures for. Okay? In other words, we're being screwed, folks. Do you know what chemtrails are? Do you know what nanotechnology is? Do you know what biochemical warfare is? Yeah, go look those up. You might be surprised. Go look up the patents for Ebola. I just saw that recently. Go look up the patents for the vaccines for, what is that? The ADD, ADHD, all that bull crap. I can do a whole show on the DSM-4, DSM-5, and how bogus it is. I can give you, audio clips of former American Psychiatric Association members, saying that it is bull crap. It's all made up bull crap. And it's all there to cha-ching, make money. Researchers make money. I don't know, folks, but I really encourage you to go look this stuff up. I can give you the roadmap. I can show you in big red letters you are here, but wherever you want to go from there is entirely up to you. Okay? I just hope that you're encouraged enough to go look this stuff up yourself. A reminder, folks, this might be the only... Matter of fact, I'm making an executive decision right now on air. This is the only show for today until 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, when you'll hear me again on Eastland Radio Repertory Theater's Halloween Special. That's again 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. You can also go to eastlandradiotheater.weebly.com and check out tonight's show. So I want to go to the Spreaker side of things in the few moments I got left here and say hello to Hooligan Radio, who is also the other... He's got two networks. That would be Open Thinking Dude Podcast. Thank you for being here, man. You're awesome. He says he had an inside source. You bought the war bonds to keep your war machines alive. War is lie to make money. Exactly. They make up bullcrap to get us into war to make money. And it costs you and your family a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you pay $20,000 for a car. I would say probably $500 of that, maybe even more, goes to the military-industrial complex. I don't know. I mean, I haven't checked that part of it out. I just said that. That was off the top of my head. I haven't checked that part of it. How much, if you go buy a brand new car at $35,000, $40,000, how much of that money goes into the military under a contract? Somebody want to send me that information? Thank you. Free America Radio at USA.com. Free America Radio at USA.com. Hey, folks. Got a minute and a half here. I want to thank you. Thank you. The Open Thinking Dude Podcast. Check him out on Spreaker.com. You got a website? If you got a website, please. Or did you already put that in there? Let me go look. Anyway. I got a minute left. So... let's get out of here. Let's go enjoy our Wednesday, shall we? Hey, folks, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Eastland Radio Repertory Theater. Tonight, Halloween special. Come check it out. eastlandradiotheater.weebly.com. I will be live in the chat room on Spreaker, so if you want to come check it out, please do. And the website for Open Thinking Dude is not there, but thank you. Appreciate it. Awesome for you to be here. And I'm out of here. I'm going to go away now. I'm going to go have fun before this show tonight. Hey, have a great one. Enjoy. Catch me later. And I'll be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Views Express Live. Come join me. Talk to you in a bit. Bye-bye.